Hi everyone, I'm Lee Pacchia and I'm joined now by Mariana Hogan. She is a professor of law and associate dean of student development at New York Law School, and she has some really useful tips on how to help law students navigate their summer associate programs. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you, Lee. It's nice to be here.
So I wonder how much has changed when it comes to summer associate programs since I went through it about 10 years ago now. Can you bring us up to speed? After the Great Legal Recession of 2008, how do law firms view these programs? Are they still looking to hire most of the 2Ls that go through it?
Well, the market is certainly tougher than it was back before the crash, but these programs still, for the most part, students who secure a summer associate position are going to get an offer, absent some major gaffe. That said, it's still really important to treat this summer associate position as really a summer-long interview. And because, remember the end game, it's not just to get the offer, it's to start your legal career at that firm. And first impressions are lasting impressions.
Yeah.
So the impression you make as a summer associate is going to stick with you when you become an associate. So I always advise my students to really be careful of the impression that they make during the summer associate program.
Yeah, it's interesting that you use the term extended interview. When I went through the process, a lot of people were really excited to be working with a medium-sized or large law firm for the summer because it meant you got paid, and you got paid sometimes a pretty good amount of money for someone going through law school. That said, the idea of an extended interview, one that lasts for weeks, it marks for a really, really stressful period of time.
Well, it is stressful, and students should look at it as an extended interview. But they should also use the opportunity to build their skills, to get to know people in the firm, to develop a network within the firm, and really show what kind of a team player they can be. So while it's stressful, I always want students to try to relax a little bit and enjoy getting to know all the people who they're going to be working with if they do get that offer at the end of the summer.
Right.
And to really realize that, you know, they're only 2Ls.
Right.
They only have 2 years of law school behind them. They don't have experience. The expectations for their work product aren't the expectations of a lawyer who's been in practice for a while. So really what people are looking at is this somebody who I can see working with? Is this somebody who's going to be a team player? And so if summer associates bring a great attitude, enthusiasm, and also use good judgment during the course of the summer, they're going to do just fine, even in a stressful long-term interview setup.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to look at from the law firm's perspective because they're assessing candidates as they fit into the culture of the firm. Culture is important in law. Every law firm has its own culture, and I would imagine it's very difficult from a 2L's perspective to figure out what exactly that culture is. What do you tell students that they can do quickly to get up to speed as to how things work at the firm they're going to be placed in for that summer?
Well, they really have to be alert. They have to pay attention. And so a large part of figuring out the culture is also participating in the summer activities, because their summer associate programs still have a lot of social activities, and sometimes summer associates think, well, you know, it's not so important to do the social stuff as long as I do the work as a summer associate. But it is important to do the social stuff because that's where you're going to start to get to know people and you're going to get a feel for the culture. In addition to participating in the social activities, I always tell students to pay attention to how people operate. Get to know the partners that you're working with, get to know what their preferences are, and one of the best sources for information on that are some of the associates that you may be working with and also the support staff. So you want to be careful. You don't want to be the summer associate who bursts into a partner's office to ask follow-up questions on an assignment if that partner's the sort of person who's more formal and wants you to set up an appointment by email in advance. The way that you find those things out is both by paying attention and being alert, but also you can ask some of the associates who work with a partner and some of the support staff who are really familiar with the lawyer's habits.
I want to talk about one of the most difficult aspects of a summer associate gig, at least from my view. When I was going through it, one of the things that I just loathed was actually getting an assignment from a partner or senior associate at the firm. The assignment was fun and great and you learned a lot from it, but the actual interaction with a very senior attorney coming into your office or area and telling you what they want, it was a difficult thing just to figure out what words they were using and what they meant, let alone how that was going to translate into giving them a finished work product. How do you coach a 2L to the point where they can handle assignment intake and then transmitting it to success?
Well, it is tricky, and there are a lot of judgments along the way. So first and foremost, you've always got to have a pencil and a notebook with you, because when you're getting an assignment, you've got to be taking notes, because so much it can almost feel like an out-of-body experience later if you're nervous about the assignment and there are terms you don't really understand. So it's important to travel with your notebook and pencil, take notes. I also always encourage students to ask follow-up questions. I mean, there are certain questions you absolutely have to know the answer to. When do you need this is key. You don't want to be pulling an all-nighter to give somebody an assignment back when in fact they don't need it for a couple of weeks. You also don't want to rush through something that really will take, should take more time. So when do you need it? What format do you want this in? I've had situations where a student has gotten a pile of cases and handed the pile over when in fact what they really should have provided was a notebook, a memo analyzing those cases. So you want to know also what's the format. You want to ask follow-ups if there are questions that you have about terms of art that were used. My advice is it's better to ask those questions up front than to find yourself spinning your wheels, getting out in left field, or worse than that, out of the ballpark, and wasting time and then not being able to provide what the assigning attorney needed.
So August rolls around and our hypothetical 2L is nearing the end of their time in the summer associate program. They've learned a lot, they've made all kinds of great connections. They want to show some level of appreciation to the people that brought them in and let them work in this environment. What's the best and most appropriate way to do so?
Well, appreciation is really good. I mean, one of the things that I tell the students all the time is that the summer associate programs are a huge endeavor on the part of the firm. And the firm's recruiting team puts a lot of effort in from the moment they start fall recruitment and select the summer associates all the way through the end of the program. And they make sure that they have wonderful social events. They set up sometimes mentorships with partners and with associates. They make sure assignments are given. They have opportunities for feedback for the summer associates. So it's a huge endeavor. And the students who have the opportunity to do the summer associate position really should be grateful, and they should show that. That said, I don't think that gifts are appropriate, but going to the recruiting team, going to the partners and the associates who you worked closely with, telling them how much you appreciated the opportunity that you had to work with them, telling the recruiting folks how much you enjoyed the events that they put together and how well organized and smoothly the summer associate program ran from your perspective. All of that is positive. Sending a nice email note to the people that you worked with closely, also perfectly appropriate. And one other proviso, in some firms the summer associates will rotate through different groups so that you get a chance to see different areas of practice within the firm. If there's a practice area that you particularly felt that you enjoyed and that you worked well with the lawyers in that practice area, it's worth making that clear to the lawyers that you really enjoyed working in that area and that you would love the opportunity to work there should you have the opportunity to come back to the firm.
Good stuff, Mariana. Thank you so much for stopping by.
You're welcome.
That's Mariana Hogan from New York Law School. If you'd like to see more of the stuff they're working on, be sure to go check them out on YouTube, and you can always follow them on Twitter. I'm Lee Pacchia. Thanks for watching.